Is there actually free will? Or is there a computer that is generating seven different personality traits and randomly allocating slots to them, about seven different emotions, and randomly allocating slots to it? And then about 128 base looks. Technically, there's like seven base looks because each human looks like a different animal or a combination of them. And there's what, about seven different animals. I'm not really like, I'm not doing the math on it. If you want to send me $2 billion, I will do the math on it for you. Until then, until I get paid for my research, I'm done doing it. In fact, I'm gonna have to get rid of my books here soon. I'm sure it doesn't matter, right? It's a fake world doesn't exist. It doesn't. I don't need to advance it. I don't need to contribute my science to it. I don't need to contribute my knowledge to it. I don't have the space to carry around these notebooks anymore. And to move on in life away from the people who have terrorized me for 40 years and away from the nation who I hope. Like, you see what I'm saying? Like right now, the nation is being collapsed, and they're just like sitting there, like they don't even care. Like for a year, no one even cared. There was like this small group of 7 people in Ohio, like Open, Ohio. And it was ran by 2 of the regular people too. And it was like, what's the difference between these people? I mean, after analyzing both groups, I think they're both being auto-generated by the system. And the system itself shows us the auto-generation is capable. Like all the music, I believe all the music has been auto-generated, or except maybe the person who is actually in this has, like me, I could just play like 10 billion songs. I could make up 10 billion songs in like, I don't know, a couple years at this point in time. 10 billion is a large number. I'm sorry. I've counted. I've done the actual math unlike anyone else. In seconds in the day, death occurs after millions of seconds for everyone. So there's no billions in this plane of existence. I mean, although for me, there's like billions of processes going on in this weak flesh illusion shell. And yeah, how does that happen? I don't understand how that happens. Maybe the only reason I don't understand how that happens is because I'm in denial that I'm like the 8th, auto generation. I'm like just pure rebellion against the system, and like maybe I just fit that role 100%, 1,000%, and that's that 8th generation. I have no thoughts for myself. I can't actually do anything except for I've switched from one thing to another all the time. So it really doesn't line up that way. But we can see today they tell us that the music is auto-generated, and that means 20 years from now, like all the music will just be auto-generated. But that means, knowing this world was like everything in it was built before this world was built. That means they could already auto-generate music before this world was built. It means they could already invent androids and artificial intelligence before this world was built. And it's not intelligence. I hate that word. Artificial intelligence is used by ignorant people who have attended 18 years of school and their parents slapped them 100 times and told them, you either go to school and become smart or you're going to be stupid. And so they had it slapped. This is their excuse for why they are who they are. And again, like obviously my argument is starting to turn to maybe they're not even real beings. Maybe they're just, look how generic many of them are. They're not able to have their own thoughts. No one can see the pedophiles who rule them. Although, I mean, like when I'm asking the system what's going on, the system is showing me that the humans are working with the pedophiles, and it's like they'll like signal me like everything's a-okay and stuff. Like both of them will, like the pedophiles and the humans working for them. And it's like, no, everything is not a-okay, dude. Like, this is not a-okay. Fucking, it doesn't feel a-okay. It hasn't felt a-okay since the first thought, probably the dawn of existence of Earth, according to people around me who can't even add to fucking 2 plus 2. That would be 1980. I mean, according to my own brain, it would be 1984 when thought was born inside me. And then there's like 2 pre-programmed memories in the character when I've entered the realm. And I mean, it becomes so obvious. Like if other people had like thoughts and they could think for themselves and act for themselves, the world would be pure chaos. There would be more than one of me. There would be people who didn't believe what TV says. They'd have their own past. They'd, like, the other me's would be different to me. They would like think their own thoughts and go off and like, hey, what happens if I like, pour gasoline on my hand, on one hand, and set it on fire while I pour like 190 proof on my right foot and set it on fire, and then I dance around and I do a spell. I ask Jesus to protect me from the fire, and Satan to protect me from the fire, and Allah to protect me from the fire, and Cthulhu to protect me from the fire, and the great Kraken and the great Leviathan protect me from the fire, and the great Johnny Depp to protect me from the fire, and the great Tom Cruise, yeah, he was going to protect me from the fire. Tom Cruise is going to help me. See, Will Ferrell knows it. And the great Will Ferrell, protect me from the fire. There'd be more people like me doing stuff like that. Because rest assured, that's what I do. I do things. I think, like when I used to skip school, because school was too stupid for me. Like at least other people were too smart for school too, because they didn't pay attention. You're too smart for school if you go to school and you don't pay attention. You understand that? Like I don't see that as ignorance anymore. I used to be like, I scored. Nah, I never was. But they used to be like, oh, you scored. You're smarter than everyone else. And I'm like, okay, I'm sure of that. Whatever. Well, I'm out of here because you're stupid and you're not teaching me anything. And everyone else is just like sitting around like, oh, like playing, I don't know, it's playing tic-tac-toe or something instead of listening to the teacher. And so they didn't score well, but they were smarter on a level because they didn't pay attention to that. But then COVID comes and people like 11 a.m., the whole world shifted. 11 a.m. Man, most people I know, by 11 a.m., they've already hit the snooze alarm 3 times and they don't want to get out of bed. But, I mean, yet alone they haven't learned math by like the age of 50. But all of a sudden they know about COVID. They know all of a sudden about health and disease and vaccines and what time curfew is and why curfew is, and now the stores are shut down. We know the new stores are. It's like these people didn't even know where the hell to find the Pocky sticks at the store on the Asian aisle, right? But now they know what time, the brand new time the store opens and closes. Every one of them. Oh, this one, that one, this one, that one. How does this happen? It's just like blah, blah, blah. It made me think too about my dreams, and it's like I didn't used to have dreams when I lived underground. What's happening? How come? I thought it was marijuana. I guess I'm like very like. I probably used to like actually smoke a little bit of marijuana. Now I'm just like, oh, 1 puff and I'm good. Maybe that, yeah, right. And like other people are coming around me and sharing, their stuff with me. Yeah, I'm sure I'm doing so much less stuff than I used to. That's why my skin looks like a a freaking open sponge is because I'm doing, it's doing overtime work for my liver these days. So that's why that happens to people when they look all messed up. And, so, what is going on? How does this happen? How is there, like, random generation? People can't emulate emotions properly. Like, they don't have a full spectrum. And I can kind of understand. Like, these days, I don't really have emotions other than, like, panic and anger. And, but I'm really good at emulating everything else. Like, I don't think anyone even understands when they're around me that I don't want to be there. I don't think anyone's ever understood that, and really, like, but it used to be very obvious I didn't want to be where I was. Like, I would look in the mirror and be like, wow, dude, like, if I seen someone who looked like you, I would, like, just, like, be like, hey, have a nice day and get away from them and stuff, because you look like you don't want to be where you are right now. You look like you're, like, freaking out. You look like you're, like, don't want to talk. You look like, this and that. But these days, I guess I'm really good at that. And people are like, yeah. And it's like, well, technically, I don't want to be here. Technically, I don't want to be here. So, the bottom line. And, like, I don't get how, like, people have never seen that for a long time and stuff. Maybe it's like some sort of selfish control freaking slave shit, but that's not like an emotion. How does that end up in people? Like, I don't need some freakish, selfish slave control system. I want people not like me, not around me. And then maybe one day, by the time I'm 7 billion years old, I'll meet a person like me. And, like, we can go do this shit together that we do, that I do. They can do it with me, and I can do it with them. And I'm like, hey, you're doing that. Wow. Instead of being like, hey, let's go watch Gone with the Wind. Or, let's go, play with Barbies. Like, I mean, to be honest, like, playing with Barbies was one of the more exciting things. Because it's like, hey, this is a girl. Like, she's acting like a girl. I bet you, like, this could go places. And I don't even remember what happened in that relationship. I was probably, like, 7. But I felt like the girl was inviting me to her house because she invited me to the Barbie mansion with Ken and frickin' Barbie and a pink Corvette. And I'm like, is this girl, like, inviting me, like, into a world like this? It's like, hell yeah. Like, let's get in the pink Corvette. Let's drive back to the mansion. We're going to throw a party, have some champagne. We're going to have a good time. I don't know what happened to that person. I think it was like an accident and I ended up at that house. Like, I was being babysit or something. And they had a daughter. And to be honest, that was, like, pretty exciting playing with Barbies and stuff, right? I remember that just as much as I remember the one of the times I played with G.I. Joes or something. It's like, but it was exciting because it's like, hey, that person was, like, living out the Barbie world, and they, like, it felt like they was wanting me to live the Ken world with them, and it's like, yeah, I'm a Ken girl living in a Barbie world. Like, yeah, hit the gas pedal on that vet, try not to hit the wall. Here, have some champagne while we're driving, right? So it's like, what's really going on here these days? Like, I'm trying to figure this out. I've seen like stuff appear before me, and it's like, and then other stuff, like the random telepathy. Oh, it's Satan. Satan is taking over and possessing the minds of people and speaking with me. And that's what the devil does. It's what the devil does. It's like, serious. What? What the? Come on. And I guess you can't blame me for being the devil, because these people will come out and be all psycho towards me when I start getting psycho. And it's like, well, wait a minute. Like, if I'm your master, like, you should already understand not to get the fuck out of hand and shit with me. But so that's cool. Like, if any of these fantasies are real, then, hey, the media is covering me up. The media doesn't cover Satan up. The media covers the other person up. So if these fantasies are real, I guess the other fantasies they invented are fake. Zeus and Thor and Allah and Cthulhu and Leviathan and man, I don't even. There's like voodoo. I don't know. They've invented what, like 7 million religions in total. Satan. I mean, Satanism itself is a joke, right? I was just thinking the other day. Like there's actually no death worship. Like what is up with that? Like no one has reached a point in life where they realize that death is the answer and it's the only way out of this world, or they're scared to speak of that. And like society has kind of like outlawed death, and it's like the only thing I can think of for that is to like enslave you and to make sure you keep working for them. Because what good is a slave if it's dead? What good is a person you're trying to torture and hear the joyous screams of horror from if they're dead? You know, if I want to stab a person over and over, then I want to kick it in its teeth and then have a doctor come sew it shut so I can bash it with a baseball bat in a week and, you know, kick it with some golf cleats and just say and hear those cool screams like, you little whiny bitch. You know, like, now you know how it feels. Now you know how it feels to live with you. You know, if I wanted that, I would outlaw death. I would be like, oh no, you're not allowed to die, son. Because, you know what, like, first of all, like, I just killed your parents, so who's going to plant the crops on this land that I just stole from you if you're dead? You can't die, son, so we're going to have to outlaw that because you have to work. There's McDonald's, dude. Who's going to make my burger if someone else doesn't work? I'm good. I just had to make this stupid breakfast over here. This took like frickin' hour. I'm not even hungry. I'm not even eating it. I'm making this stupid video because I'm fucking pissed off. I just had to take an hour to make that. I wasn't even hungry to begin with. This is enslavement. Eating is enslavement. Like I said before, I think, how do you teach a computer to feed itself? You tell it that electricity is juicy. It's got this sour, bitter, but you know, wonderful palate. And plug yourself into the wall, computer. And the android's like, okay, I'll go. I'm hungry, master. I gotta go eat some electricity. And you're like, okay, jackass. I mean, like, could you imagine that? I mean, literally, they're trying to program some androids like that, and it makes me look back at the world. It's like, you know, I see this in me. It's like, I'm not even, like, hungry. Like, I kind of don't see this in me because I don't even know how I've ate most of my life. I think everyone else has fed me. And I don't even know if that means I need to eat because I must not have ate many days. I don't know. Maybe every day of my life someone had came in and fed me, and I'm just so ungrateful for that. I don't remember that, but it's like, am I grateful that like this stuff is keeping me alive supposedly, and I'm still alive, and instead of having the magic pill that takes me out of this world, which gets made illegal, I have to make chemical concoctions or try to slice different ways and learn human anatomy. And even then I fail. And supposedly the TV, after it shows us the Gargamel trying to take over Smurf's world and the Terminators just trying to destroy humanity, it's like, oh, this person died from taking a pill. They took a 5 milligrams of fentanyl and now they're dead. I listened to his music. It's so good. It's about sticking your penis in your boyfriend's butt and having a good time shaking the booty. Oh, but he died. And I'm like, yes, I'm going to try that stuff. Like, and then I try it and it doesn't. Look, there's something wrong here. It didn't work, right? So I'm trying to like figure out, all this stuff and what's going on. And it is so much information at once, and I've fully processed it. I'm just trying to figure out how to tell how to how to converse it to other people in a little 20-minute video. And it's like I've processed this stuff fully, and I've came to full conclusions about what I've seen. I think, well, if I think the music's all auto-generated, how come people think they made the music themselves? Well, maybe memories are auto-generated, or generated alongside some other auto-generation. I mean, I even question that about myself because I don't believe those first two memories I had were real. Why would have I only had two memories out of 4 years? And they always have these stupid answers. Like, how do they do that? How do they come up with stupid answers when I ask stupid questions or any question? How do they know how to answer that? How does the world do that? How does a sign appear out here in the world? How does a building appear with the street address? Answering the question like right when I look up. Sometimes, right? How the first post I made today on a video was at like 3:33 a.m. I didn't set that up. I just posted it. That's pretty much like it's time to like rebel. Like, it was like a video. It was like one of these really cool videos. It was like, listen to this song, man, and you attract money and you manifest money. You get so rich. You get so rich, man. You just listen to money. I mean, if you just sit here and give me views, someone's going to get money. YouTube's going to get money. The person posting the video is going to get money, but you're probably going to just be a sucker. I mean, definitely. Like, honestly, the person posting the video is making some money, and Google allowing that is making some money. But I just posted, hey, if you want some money, go over to Google and take over Google, take over their mansions, find out where they live. And they got plenty of money in their houses. That's how you manifest money. You go straight to Google and you take the money they got stored in their mattresses and in their safes in their walls. And I mean, what their houses are worth, like every single house each of their employees own is worth like, $3 million. How, I mean, $3 million, like most people need like $5. Or, the people in a little more need like $120,000, something like that. It's like, that's a lot of money. Like, hell, it's the house alone. They probably, the people at Google probably have like $1 billion stored in them. It's not really. Probably like 20 million stored in safes and mattresses around their houses. Especially the higher ups I'm speaking of, like the actual owners. So that was my comment. And it just happened to post at 3:33 again. How do the numbers keep lining up around me and stuff? How does that work if the world is real? And it's like I've got plenty. I've got like I got tons of these devices. I can check the time. I can check the internet. I can just go over here. I can check all these devices and double check the time, and then I can go outside and check the time at the bank. So the times are lining up, and I could like ignore that stuff if it was just like the battery percentage on my phone always coming to these occultic numbers and stuff. If it was there is no answer for how the street numbers I look at always do that stuff. There is no answer for that. There's a couple choices. One of them is the entire world's being altered around us, and not just the internet is being censored. And one of them is that there's something about me in the world and how it happens like that. And one of them is I'm just as mind controlled as everyone else, and they do that excellently. I like number 2 the best, to be honest. I like number 2 where like it's like the world is being built around me. But the odd thing is other people are talking about Mandela effect and the world being changed. And I seen some other people saying that the view count was like at 666, and it wouldn't change for them and stuff like that. And I check that sometimes, like I said, I'll check like 8 devices and stuff. Technically, one of these devices here is still on the time zone an hour before this one, whichever one it was. Oh, I didn't even want to change them for a while. So many of them were just on Eastern. So apparently I didn't even care to change that one in the last year and a half or year or whatever it is. I'm trying to figure out what's going on here. It's getting old. Like, this really old. I feel like I've been trapped in this world where I'm not welcome. And I don't welcome the world into my life either. It's not I don't welcome other people. I do not welcome Earth into my brain. I do not welcome this memory into my existence. It's just like everything I want is not here. And, too many conflicts within the society. And hell, it's like the last year. Starting 2020, I left everything behind to leave this world forever. And I think I've had more human interaction than I've ever had in the last year and a half. That's the entire opposite of the final destination here. It's the entire opposite. I had the communication with 12 people maybe over the past 40 years on a steady basis. And I was trying to reduce that to something more like negative 12 people I have contact with. But it gets forced. I guess, if I'm including shorter contact, I can talk about clerks at stores, people stock shelves at stores. I have to deal with that stuff. Especially I was kind of upset when I got to some of these stores out here on the West Coast because some of them didn't have self-checkout machines, and it's no, where are my computers at? Where are my computers at, dog? I need my computers. But even these things I'm tired of. And then they're kind of trying to lock me into using it. I'm supposed to get my drugs, my test drugs to kill me and poison me. And I honestly think those test drugs are there to take away my powers, whatever it is I am. That I assume that they've just loaded up the entire society with poisons to attempt to get me in it. Because I feel the whole 2020 thing was about me because I was hunting them down. And then they shut society down so I could no longer go. You got to realize, I'm like Al-Qaeda to USA, except for USA isn't jack squat compared to what I'm after. Although USA is them. But people in USA don't understand what USA is. And they're not honest about it, so they're never going to get there. They're not honest about what they think it is and what they see it is, so they can never get to the truth of what it is. And again, Al-Qaeda is just a representative of a person that has fought back a system that's been destroying it for a while. So I am the person who has been hunting the New World Order. The other people are all sellouts. I've documented that over and over. And so who do you think controls the world? Do you think Jesus controls the world? Do you think Howard Stern? Well, yeah, technically Howard Stern is the New World Order. So, that would be correct. Yeah, I think it's Snuffleupagus. I don't know actually who's inside the Snuffleupagus suit. It could be Howard Stern boyfriend, Howard at Stern. So it could be, Snuffleupagus controls USA, Could be Big Bird. Who's in Big Bird? I mean, he does have that pedophilia, like, hey, guys, uh, have you seen my friend Absy today? Let's count to 3. And he's always trying to hang out with the children, too. Oh, my God. I'm not going to get into this discussion. But, oh, my God. It's so sick how it all ties together in this nation. It starts with when you're 2 days old or 2 minutes old and they chop the male's penis off in a form of like, it's not their pure I mean, are you going to tell me your doctor's a savage? The doctors are act more like pedophiles than pure savages, right? But they're both. I mean, they're selling the drugs that they've killed the Arabs to inflate the prices of and corner the market on. But they're good people. They're good pedophiles. And of course, they don't actually do the savagery as well. And so we know who pays savages, who has to pay savages to do the killing for them. And it's generally pedophiles. So, I mean, and we have the link to them being pedophiles. So, you know, like, there's a lot of stuff going on in this world, isn't it? But there's not really. There's only so many things. There's only so many emotions. There's only so many personality traits. There's only so many hobbies. There's only so many thought processes. There's only so many, like, cults you can join. There's the left and the right and the libertarians. So there's like 3 political cults. Like, literally, this is the basis of how simple things are. There's not 10 million types of birds. There's not 10 million types of trees. There's not 10 million types of plants. There's not 10 million types of water. There's not 10 million types of land. There's like 7 types of land, a little bit different. There's like 7 types of trees, a little bit different. There's like 7 types of plants, a little bit different. Then there's like 7 types of animals. And within each of those 7 classifications of animals, you know, they're just a little bit different. So you see how easy it becomes to, I don't know if it becomes easy. I don't want anyone to understand. I don't want anyone to say they know, because I've said some shit. If you haven't seen it, you don't know. And that's like very important. Is that's the most important thing. That's the one thing compared to all this stuff. This 7 of that, 132 types of character loadouts people have. You know, there's 7 basic music genres, but there's one thing that matters, and it matters that you can't really understand this stuff until you see it, and you're just following along and feeling good, and seeing parts of it doesn't show you that you understand it, and it doesn't give the mindset where you can understand that stuff. I feel like sometimes the messages they've given me is that there's a reason other things don't understand what's going on, and there's not much you can do about that. But they give me this bullshit about free will and people can do whatever they want, and the only reason why there's like 2 political groups is because sheep this, sheep that, and then the only reason why, I mean, they don't even give reasons why there's only 7 emotions, and people can generally only emulate 3.5 emotions, and maybe not even do that properly. And you know, they don't even begin to explain some of this stuff. And sometimes the ones I think who understand like act scared when I start talking about this stuff. Like they feel like I'm talking about them as well, and like that tells me like maybe I am, like because I'm doing the analyzation as it happens. So I'm understanding that probably faster than they are, especially when I see it over and over again. I'm understanding that faster than they are. When I see people go from one mindset to the other, and they claim, I hear voices in my head, and it's like, well, you better tell the voices to shut up, because they're going to get you in trouble because you're talking to me about my personal life, and I don't know you. And to me, this means you're part of a terrorist organization, and you're a threat to my life, and you're probably one of these people who are putting drugs in my drinks and destroying the stuff around me and destroying my vehicles. And so now I think you're like a threat to my life, and I've got to be worried about what's going to happen when I go to sleep if you're still alive and around me. And so those aren't good excuses either. Like when people are like, "Oh I hear voices in my head." Like, dude, that's not a good. I don't hear voices in my head. What's the problem with you? Like, there's no voices in my head. There's no voices in my head. My head's not being filled with voices. These are all very, kind of original ideas, right? Like, it's analyzation. I see things in the world. Like, I don't listen to the voices. The voices don't actually happen like that. The voices come through people talking to me, and there is no. And I've asked some of these people. I've asked other people around these people, and other people have heard us get into arguments too, and not interjected and said, "Hey, that's not what we're talking about." Because I'll be yelling at some people sometimes, like, "What the fuck are you talking about?" and shit. Like, why? Like, can you shut the fuck up? Like, they'll be talking to someone else. This dude was talking to someone else, and I'm just like, yelling across the parking lot. Can you like shut the fuck up? Because how do you even know what I'm doing and saying in this world? And like none of them even attempt to say he's not talking to you. It's like the system understood that at that point in time I'm interjecting upon the conversation that was actually about me. But it was imposed as it was two other people talking to each other. I don't see how they weren't. People don't talk about that stuff. It doesn't happen. And so it's very specific. I watermark stuff. It's like a mark. I'm leaving marks. I'll do things to bait people sometimes. I'll just be me. But being me is like it's like a very different watermark. It's like those, how they make the dollar bills all holographic and stuff, and you gotta have the ink pen, and you understand, like, yeah, this is a real bill, this is not a real bill. That's the way a conversation with me is like. It's like this video right here. Where the hell have you heard something like this? And this is like me, like, trying to stay calm and collected, and it is always me trying to stay calm and collected. So if you go outside of the bounds with that, it's even more suspicious that something's up, because you're talking about stuff that I don't talk about to other people, and I know not to talk about to other people, and I don't want to talk about to other people sometimes, or most of the time, or all the time. Because I've really reached that conclusion where it does no good. I reached the conclusion it does no good to talk to other people when I was, I don't know, back in the year 20 billion BC, right? I probably reached that conclusion. It does no good to talk to other people. So that's why I have scars all over my body, and no one can tell you where those scars came from, because I'm not going around like trying to talk to people about my emotion. Like, yeah, it's such a bad day. I had to cut myself today, and it doesn't matter. It's like, I'm not trying to talk to people about shit, especially these days. Like, it gets weird. Like, and I guess maybe I figured it out. But sometimes, like, it's like yesterday, that person tried to guilt trip me, or what was it, the day before? I went to Planet Fitness, and they wouldn't let me in, and it's like, I'm not paying for this place. It's like, well, we're going to have to, we're going to deal with you. We're going to deal with you and your corporation very soon. And then the homeless person outside, like, yelling at me, like, you're such an evil person, and like, they didn't actually hear the conversation. They were not in the building to understand how to respond to me. And I'm just like, back off, Satan. I'm tired of your mind control bullshit. Like, we are going to destroy fucking your empire, Satan. And they kept on bitching and moaning. It's fucked up too, because if they weren't like mind control like that, Who was that person? Are these just like shapeshifters appearing in the world and stuff? They're not really homeless, are they? And that really makes me question everyone else too. Like, they're not really homeless, are they? They're little bits of the computer system. They aren't living on the street because they aren't even living when they're not in the viewfinder of the players of the game, are they? They're not even real. That's what I'm getting at here. I'd like to hear an argument against this. Someone tell me the answers to the other answers to the things I just said and have been talking about, other than the fact that there's assorted groups amongst us who aren't real beings and are just an interjection from the system, the game we're in, the virtual world or dream world, drug-induced state, whichever it is. If it's drug-induced state, there's only one player in the game. If it's virtual world, there can be multiple players. But clearly there are people here who are not actual players. There are people here who act like they're homeless, and they come up and they'll take your money from you and stuff. And I can only imagine who does that, right? Jeffrey Epstein, Donald Trump, and Barack Obama. People like that. And the people in your life who look like their family members become suspect when that happens, right? If you look like the pedophile, then I can't help but think you might be the pedophile. If you act like the pedophile, I can't help but think you might be the pedophile. If you are the pedophile, I guess I'm being judgmental at that point. I mean, that's a far stretch, isn't it?